name is Tony Visual, known as a game UI designer, also a product designer, and also a workflow developer. So the purpose of this particular meetup, is to like enlighten you guys what game UI is really all about. The fundamental of game UI. When it comes to game UI, most people don't really understand how game UI works, the approach, and also how to come up with idea. So like what Ms. Precious say, the purpose of this community is to enlighten everyone to get into game design. Game design is not something saturated compared to products, UI, and so some other design niche. So today we're talking on fundamental of game UI design as a beginner. So I think you guys can see my screen.
No, I can't see your screen. I don't know if others can see your screen, but I can't see.
Okay. What about, I think it's coming up, maybe. Okay. What about now?
100.
Okay. Okay. So, like I said, the topic is the fundamental of game UI design as a beginner. So, most of us here, we have beginners here that don't really know what UI UX is all about. You understand? Like to brief what is game, to brief what is UI UX like in general. UI refers user interface and user experience. But when it comes to game design, it plays a little bit different role. In game design, we call it what game UI UX. So when I ask what game UI UX, most people will be like, okay, it's all about interface and the experience. Yes, which is okay, but sometimes you have its own crucial approach or crucial role when it comes to game aspects. So when I talk about what is game UI UX, game UI UX is like everything the player sees and interacts with and feel while playing the game. Like compared to products UI. So under game UI, that's what we call health bar. I will show you guys some examples. So okay, so that's what we call health bar, menus, inventory screens, buttons, mini apps, and HUD, that is called heads-up display. When it comes to game UI, this is the most important and the crucial part when it comes to game interface. So it is very necessary or compulsory as a beginner to joining right now. Okay, so as a beginner to understand what is game UI, like the way we do normally see when it comes to product UI. So like I said before, game UI itself, it includes the health bar, the menus, so on and so forth. It's all about what the player see, interacts, and also feel. When it comes to the user experience, now this is how the game feels when players are playing the game. Right? For example, we have when it comes to the user experience aspect, there's what we call easy navigation, smooth interaction, which also play a very crucial role when it comes to user experience in gaming. Like also the way we have in product UI. So we have like smooth interaction, player emotion, feedback and animation, flow of gameplay. This can be found under the user experience. Like I said, game UI is what the players see, interact with, and also feel when playing the game. While the experience is how they're able to navigate when playing the game, and also how they interact with the smooth animations. Now, like I said before, for example, of the user interface, like I say, the game interface, you can see health bar, menus, so on and so forth. Now, this particular stuff is what the designers are meant to design when it comes to game interface. I believe most of you might be seeing these particular screens like your first time, you understand? So this is what the designers, or this is what companies are expected you to design when it comes to user interface. Understand? It's all about artistic. Like I always mention, when it comes to game interface, it's all about artistics, minimalistic. Compare when we are working on game products design. Now the next is what differences between product UI and game UI. Like I said before, both of them, they have things in common, but have different approach, or let's say different role. You get. So I will start with game. Let's say with game difference between game and product UI. So one thing with game interface is all about what? It's all about emotion and fun. You get. When it comes to game interface, if you're working on game interface, you always make sure that your game carries emotions and also fun to interact with, compared to product UI. Let me bring someone up. Okay, so compared to products app, for example, like the difference between the products, it's all about what? Helping users complete tasks. You get. But when it comes to game UI, it's all about what? Emotion and fun. It's all about fun. Because if your game interface or if your game you're working on doesn't have any fun, people will be able to interact with your game or to play around with your game. You understand? So common things that can be found, or common stuff that can be found inside product and game UI, that can be found inside game UI. For instance, inside game UI, you can find what we have. When it comes to emotion, we have what? Environmental, emotion, engagement, and visual storytelling. When it comes to game interface, like I said, when it comes to game interface, it's all about what? It focuses on what? Entertainment, emotion, engagement, and visual storytelling. But when it comes to product UI, it's all about what? Simplicity, clarity, and productivity. Understand? Both of them have a very big different approach, but it can be referred as what? Game UI or product UI. So like I said, game UI is all about what? Emotion and fun. Why product is all about helping users to complete their tasks, or to make their productivity more easier, or more simple for them to achieve their daily tasks. So the next is what? Game categories. Game categories. I know most of us be like, okay, this is the first time I've learned about game categories. But as a game UI designer, when it comes to game, you need to understand the category you're working on. You can't just start designing, or can't just start working on any game without understanding the category you fall into. Like the way we have product UI, like inside product UI, we have what? Fintech, e-commerce, so on and so forth. But when it comes to game UI design, it has its own what? Its own categories. So I believe most of you here, you guys do play game a lot. And again, before I proceed with the game categories, number one, like when I say number one, like a must, like number one principle, or would I say a must for a designer to have, you need to be a gamer. You understand? You need to make sure that you always play game a lot, because the more you play game, the more you understand the mechanism behind game UI and also game development. So as a UI UX designer, a game UI UX designer, you need to make sure that you play game a lot. You understand how game works. Likewise, being a product UI designer, you need to make sure that you interact with products every day. Like you can't see a product designer that doesn't use a smartphone. That means you're not serious. So like I said before, as a game UI designer, you need to make sure that you play game a lot. Because the more you play game, the more you understand. It might not have a console or a PC to play game, but at least the small games you play on your phone also contribute when it comes to let's say your knowledge, or when it comes to working on any product. So like I said, the game categories, number one is what? Action games. Now, if I'm to work in any particular game, does the game fall into action? Understand? So you need to make sure that you understand the game you're working on, the category you're working on. Like I said, understand the game you're working on. That falls under what? Under game categories. So, like for example, when action games like God of War, Call of Duty, those can be referred as action game. Also, Devil May Cry. So those can be referred as action games. Number two of it is adventure games. I believe you guys know what they call adventure. So adventure is all about, the more you play game, like the more you, like let's say, like you play game with storytelling. Understand? That is like let's say how you refer adventure is. Like the more you play game, the more you explore, and the more you like there's more story. So that is where what adventure games fall in. So as a designer, you make sure that you understand the category you're working on. So example of adventure game is what we have: Life is Strange, The Walking Dead, We have Firewatch, so on and so forth, which fall under adventure games. The next one is action adventure games. Now, action adventure game is what? Is the more you play game with like the more you play game with action, and also the more you explore. Like I said before, adventure is all about what? Exploring, and also be playing game, and also be solving some puzzles too. So under adventure game, like action adventure game is more of a mix of combat, exploitation, and also storytelling. Like I said before, storytelling. You understand? You tell story when and the more you play your games. Example of it is The Last of Us, Uncharted. So I believe most of you have seen these games. Understand? So like I said, it's not a must as a designer to have console or PC before you can able to play games. At least your mobile phone is on a daily basis. You can able to use to play games. So the number 10 of it is the number 4 of it is RPG, which means role playing games. Understand? When we talk about role playing games, like players, like you be the character by yourself. You level up the character, be the like customize your own character by yourself. You understand? Like customize it to your own taste. So that is where RPG games comes in, known as role playing games. You understand? No, known as role playing games. Example of it is Final Fantasy XVI, The Witcher. The more you play these games, the more you understand how RPG games works. The next is okay. I'm coming in it. So the next is the next of it is FPS, first person shooter. Understand? I believe you guys know what they call FPS. Like it's kind of a gun combat game. Example of it is like Call of Duty. FPS games, understand? It's kind of a gun combat game. As a designer, when working on products and game UI, like I said before, always make sure that this particular game you're working on, which category does it fall into? You get? So those are number 1 steps you need to understand. You can't just proceed working on any particular game. You need to understand the category. If you fall into action, adventure, or action adventure, understand? Make sure that you understand the particular purpose of that particular game. Like I said, like the way we work on product UI. Understand? You need to understand if it's fintech, e-commerce, so on and so forth. You understand? So, like I said, the FPS means first shooter games, gun combat from the players. Understand? Example: Call of Duty, Counter Strike 2. Understand? And also we have many of it. Understand? So, like I said, that is FPS. FPS, yeah. The next is what? TPS, third person shooter. You get? Third person shooter. Like it refers as shooting gameplay viewed from behind the character. I believe most of you have played Fortnite. Fortnite, understand? Like when looking at the character, the camera is being previewed from the back of the character. You get? So that is what TPS means, third person shooter. Example of it is Fortnite, Gears 5, and the Division 2. The next is what? Battle Royale. It's like kind of competing. Many players compete until one survive. I believe you guys know what they call Battle Royale. People compete. Some people compete. So example of it is what? Fortnite. Example of it. Now the next is what? Survivors game. You play a game to survive. Yes, you play games to survive. Like I said, you play games to survive. That is where survival games comes in. We have horror games, we have racing games, we have sporting games. On that sporting games, you guys know what sporting means? Like game based on real world sports. For example, FIFA, WWE, basketball, so on and so forth. That's where sporting games fall into. We have fighting games, one-on-one combat focus game. Example of it is Tekken 8, Street Fighters, Mortal Kombat, so on and so forth. And also we have what? Strategy games. I believe most of you play strategy games too. Like we play Clash of Kings. We play something like what games. Those are strategy games. Understand? So like I said, as a designer, always understand the category you're working on. Don't just start working on any design without understanding the purpose or the direction. So always make sure that you understand what you're working on. So why the last but not the least, we have MOBA, which refers multiplayer online battle arena, in the way that you play multiplayer with your friends, like kind of a team-based strategy combat. Understand? You play game with your friend, like we have League of Leagues, Dota 2, so on and so forth. So this particular category, though we have many of categories when it comes to game aspect. As a designer, you make sure that you understand the category you're working on. You can't just start working on any game without understanding the categories. So let me try to refresh what I've said so far, because of those that are just joining right now. Game UI UX, it's game UI UX is like is what the players see, interact, and also feel when playing the game. Why the experience is all about how they navigate towards the game, the smooth interaction, the player emotion, feedback, animation, so on and so forth. The difference between product UI and game UI is all about the game focus on what? On emotion and fun, while product focus on helping users to complete their daily tasks. So they have things they come about a very big different what approach. Understand? You can apply product principle inside game principle. You can't apply game principle inside product principle. Understand? They have different rules. And again, as this for the beginners, when starting your game career and your game design career, make sure that you don't engage when it comes to trend. Don't implement trend when it comes to your game, because trend comes and go. Because once you use a particular trend to work on a particular game interface, once that particular trend fed out, your game have no more use again. So always make sure that you don't indulge in that. Understand? Like I said, the game is all about what? Understanding understanding the story. Understand? Like I said, understanding the storytelling, it plays a very big role. Let's understand what you're working on. Like I said, like the storytelling of that particular game. Use the storytelling to work on your game. Like I said, avoid anything that's caused trending. It doesn't contribute when it comes to game UI. So number 3 is what? Game categories. Like I mentioned before, we have action, sports, FPS, first person shooter, TPS, third person shooter, so on and so forth. So number 4 is what? We're going to work on grid guideline in game UI. So this will be more of a practical aspect that I will walk you guys through, and how we'll be able to approach any particular screen when working on game interface. So I believe you guys can see my workspace, my Figma workspace. If you can see, just give me a thumbs up. You can see, just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay. So now this is my Figma Canva, or I can call it workspace. So for beginners that don't really know what Figma is all about, Figma is like a UI design tools where designers use to design interface. Understand? So in this particular section, so I'm going to walk you guys through on how to approach a particular like each screen or particular screen when it comes to game interface. Now, when it comes to game design, we have console, we have PC, we have mobile, and inside mobile we have horizontal and vertical. But for the vertical aspect, we call it for the horizontal aspect, we call it landscape. So I will start by detailing the console or the PC screen. So normal as a designer, we do use what? We do use desktop, which is this 1440 for websites. But when it comes to game interface, this particular frame size is very useless. We don't use this. Rather, we use 1920 1080 1080 because that is the standard 4K view when it comes to game. Because we are designing game for screens, like for, let's say, for console, not for web. So when it comes to the practical aspect, well, I always recommend or tell people that they should set their frame to 1920 for the width, while the height is 1080 1080. So once I just sometimes can use frame, or I can find it here, this presentation here, this 1920. But for practical purpose, I would do it from scratch. So the width will be 1920, while the height will be 1080. So this is the standard frame size when it comes to work when it comes to console or PC interface design. You can't go above this number or below this number. This is the standard, which is the 4K or 2K view when it comes to working on console game interface. So now this is the frame. So we have to set our layout guide. So once I head over to my layout guide, I will remove from grid to columns. The count will be what? Will be 12. Still maintain the 12. The margin between from 48 goes up. From 48, you can go to a particular certain number, but don't overuse the number. Like I use that's what we call grid point grid system. Most of us here don't really understand what point grid system is all about, which I also explain in one of our classes that's coming out very soon. They're working on video on that. I will explain what is point grid systems all about. So I do recommend start with 48. While the gutter 20 or 24 is okay. Now this is for the console. This is for the console. Now the next will be for our mobile version. Our mobile screens, vertical and horizontal, which also refers as what? Landscape. Now this is what for, let me say PC and call it console or console. This can be referred as PC or console. Now next will be our the mobile frame. So for the mobile frame aspect, I do recommend we use iPhone 13 40, which is 39844. This particular size is okay. Before we do use iPhone 13 mini, but now since there's a little bit upgrade when it comes to frame, so we have to adjust to 390. So for the grid for the layout grid, it will be set to like same thing column. The count should be 4, always should be 4. Your margin 16, your gutter 16. You can go for the margin aspect, you can go above 16. Understand? Depending on the kind of game you're working on. Understand? But I do suggest when it comes to the vertical aspect, 16 is okay, 24 is okay. So for the landscape, which is the horizontal, so I'll just duplicate. Now there's a funny part here. Now when it comes to the horizontal aspect, for the horizontal landscape aspect, if I try to flip this, can you see the columns will disappears? Because when it comes to development, flipping or rotating your frame like doesn't count. So rather you have to reset the width and height. Now, for instance, the width is 390, while the height is what? Is 844. So you have to switch the two numbers. With the height will be what? 390, while the width will be what? 844. Can you see? Also gives me what? The same with this. But when it comes to the column aspect, I have to adjust for the column. So I have to adjust it to 12. I have to set it to 12, or I can set it to 8, between 8 and 12. 8 is okay. Now for the margin aspect, we do recommend people to go from start with 48. The reason because of save space here. Understand? Because if you're working on any particular design, your frame should be inside this, because this touch side, there need to be a little bit space between your touch space and your frame to avoid will I say unexpected touch from your screens. So we do suggest or recommend you start from 48. You can go above 48, or let me say 56. Can give it a very big breathing space from it. You understand? So for the margin should be what? The margin should be 56, from 48 to 56 goes up, while the gutter 16 or 20. Like these numbers I'm using here, this is not a random number. This number falls into point grid system, which I'm going to explain in our next meeting or next video that's coming up. We're still working on. So the gutter 20 56 is okay for the landscape aspect. We call it landscape. So now this is the grid guideline we do use here. Now people be wondering what is grid guideline. Grid guidelines is like a framework we use when it comes to design. Like it's a framework, like the way we have in development. We have Java, we have JavaScript. Inside JavaScript, we have what? We have framework, which is Node.js and so on and so forth. So now, like I said before, the layout guideline is what? Is a framework that we do use when it comes to design. So let me come again. PC and console share the same frame size. Why the mobile aspect is 390 H44 for the vertical, while the horizontal or landscape like interchange number, which is 844 and 390. So I don't know if you guys have any question. You can ask any question. You can just ask any question if you have any question, or if you are lost, you can ask any question. Anybody, any question? Okay, go on, Goswe. Okay, Mr. Goswe, no problem.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
right.
yes.
So,
yeah,
all right. So the thing is, I wanted to ask, you said something about differentiating game from product. I want to understand something. Is it that games themselves are not exactly products in a marketable sense? Because
so
when you
continue, I'm listening.
I'm listening. Okay, sorry to cut in, because when it comes to games, they are usually made for a certain audience, and that audience is because of the fact that audience it is made for is because of the fact that that audience can double as a market, so to say, and there is no market without product. So I don't understand. How do you mean? Well, I'm not criticizing. I'm just asking out
Yeah.
of
Okay. The reason I'm differentiating product and game UI. Abi? Okay, so
okay, yes, more or less. That's pretty much it.
Okay, more or less. Okay. So like I said before, when it comes to the difference between, like I said, like difference between product UI and game UI, both of them play like a very different role. Understand? Now, like I said, like I want to talk about product. Product is like say it's something that's like let's say something that's let's say help users. You get like it helps users. You get more of like helping users to complete most of their tasks. I don't know if you understand. Like it's more of helping users understand. Like it's more focusing on users' needs or their problem to solve their problem. Yeah. But when it comes to game is all about fun and emotion. In a way that you play game just for fun. Understand? You play game more of just for fun. Understand? So I don't know if you're clear with that. I guess if you are clear. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So like I said before, so it's more of product is more of like helping people solve their problem. Like I said, game UI is all about fun and emotion too. So I don't know if there's any question, someone can still can still ask question. If someone drop chat, sage. Okay. Miss. Okay. I'm just seeing. Okay. I'm just seeing guys. Okay. Go on, Godly. Go on, Godly. Go on.
Okay, good evening. I hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening.
Okay. So, my comment was as a result of, like, the comments I made was as a result your slide. I don't know if you were showing
Okay,
other slides,
okay,
so you're not
okay,
seeing anything. You're just seeing the
okay. Based
index.
on the games I mentioned, Abby.
No, but when you were before you came to pick one, while your explanation of everything, I thought you were presenting other slides.
Okay, okay,
So it
okay,
was
okay.
just the
Other
index
slides.
screen you were seeing.
Okay,
Yes, you're
okay,
not
okay,
seeing
okay,
anything.
okay, okay.
So
Okay, I understand.
that was the problem.
Okay,
Then
okay,
I
okay.
have then I have a question. So when you were explaining, you said that you are introducing a lot of games. You know, you
Yeah.
said as a game UI designer that
Mm-hmm.
you should one thing that would help you in designing game interfaces well, it's if you put your
Understand
heart
the
and
category you're
if
working
you're
on,
really
the
engaged,
niche.
yeah, if you're really engaged in playing different kind of games to get inspirations and the like. So what if, for example, now, I want to maybe be a game designer now. Like I'm into products, but I want to still build myself in a game designs. And then like
Okay.
and I know that there are different category of games. You have named a whole lot of games. I just
Mm-hmm.
like and these games they are like complex games. Even in the complex COD, for example, a lot of people play COD, but you know, is it like we need to start playing simple games, like mini simple games for us to, just like maybe when you are learning products you design now, you
Right,
start
yeah.
giving yourself easy tasks, easy projects, and from there you now scale in building world class project. Is it the same thing in game UI, whereby you start playing maybe like, for example, just mini games? I don't know, before it's now scale. When you build
Okay.
yourself to an extent, you can now be able to now start designing games like God of War now and
Yeah,
all
so on
those
and so
ones.
forth.
Is it how
Okay.
it
So,
works? Is it how it works?
okay. I'll answer that question. So the thing is that it's not how it works, understand? You don't need to start, you don't need to start playing complex game before you get into game UI. Understand? You need to even start as little as Candy Crush. You get now the reason let's say is a must for designers to play game is for you to understand how the flows works. You understand? It's not a must until you start playing Call of Duty, God of War, before you can be able to start designing complex games. Though we have inspiration sites that also help you that was going to help you understand. But just that as a designer, like the way we do interact with products interface, understand? Just play like Candy Crush. Playing Candy Crush will also help you to like and also onboard you when it comes to game aspects. Understand? Understanding how each particular screen works. You understand? So it's not a must to play a complex game before you're able to get into game UI. I don't know if you're okay with that.
Okay, so any game at all that comes to your hands, just play and from there, just go to gather inspiration at
Yes,
all at all,
yes,
right? All
yes,
right,
yes,
no
yes,
problem.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But the more focus is the mechanism, the flows. You understand? Like how they're able to come up with this particular idea or experience. You understand? So it's not a must to play complex game. But as a designer, as time goes on, I also suggest you can also play what complex game too as time goes on. You understand? Yeah, as time goes on, playing those games also helps you a lot. You get so yes. So Toby, I was supposed to say something. Toby.
Malga,
Okay, yeah, Toby, welcome.
I am. How are you doing? Good evening,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, good evening.
Yeah, so what would
We
you
can
like
hear
me
you.
to? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
What would
Hear
you
you
like
now.
me
To do what?
to add? Like, what would you like me to add?
Oh my God, I don't understand. So what do you?
Like, I am asking, like, what would you like me to add to the conversation? Because I have been
Okay,
listening
no,
on.
no, no, I'm just asking if there is any question for your own side. If you want to ask any question.
No. I have no question. I have no question.
Okay, okay. So okay, no problem. So I believe everything is clear to you, Toby.
Yeah, everything is clear.
Okay, so but since you're not able to ride along with you in your slides, you can share it to us after. Okay, so godly, like the slide like that talks more about about the games I mentioned?
Yes, and maybe another thing that's the slides contain, because we're not seeing any slide at all. So I'm thinking maybe you're not
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
no, the thing is that this particular video, I will put out the video on our YouTube channel and also go through it later on. Yeah, understand? Okay. Yeah. So I'll put that on our YouTube channel and go through it later on. So so back to what I was saying before. As a designer, like I said, always play games a lot. It helps a lot. Understand to understand the mechanism behind what you're working on. So because as a designer, or if you want to go into game design, you can't just start designing from anywhere without understanding what you're working on. You understand? Like the question Gospel asks, if there's a very big difference between product and game. Like I said, yes, there's a difference, because product is more of solving people problem and their needs, while game is all about what? It's all about fun, understand, emotion. When I talk about emotion, it's all about someone might be depressed, maybe playing game alone, like makes you feel comfortable. You understand? So and again, as a game designer, there's this particular stuff people don't really understand about game when going to game design. That's what we call game UI, game UI UX and game artists. I don't know if you guys have heard about it before. If you've heard about it before, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Gossi, so what do you understand by game artists?
Okay, let's say, let me just illustrate. The way I understand game artists, for example, is, let's say, for example, there are characters, or there are,
like game UI
let's say,
artists, game UI artists.
yes, game UI artists. Let's say, for
Okay.
example, there is a character that is supposed to be on display on the
Yeah.
loadout screen or
Okay.
on the welcome screen, like that.
Okay.
Maybe all those character designs, all those things. It's artists that usually do them, that usually
Okay.
make them. And then
Okay.
the
Okay. I'm listening.
okay,
Proceed.
and then the UI designers, they are the ones that integrates the characters and the other artwork that the game UI artists have made
Artists. Out.
into
Wow,
frames.
that's nice. Wow, that's nice. I saw someone also give you a thumbs up. I am Amara. Amara, any contribution from your own side? Though you are late.
Hi everyone. Hi Tony. No, for now,
Uh,
I just want to settle in and grasp. I think I watch the recording later, but I'll just join from here.
okay. Okay. So I don't know if I have any contribution relating to difference between game UI design and game UI design and game UI artist.
Was it Gotsu that was speaking? He said 20%, no, 50% of what I wanted to say. Sorry, if I say 50 now, you're asking for the many 50. So you said everything I wanted to say. Please go.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's nice. Okay, that's nice. Okay. So back to my slide. I believe you guys can see my slide concerning the upcoming concerning the element that can be found inside game UI. You understand? So I'll kind of break UI design and your artists so you guys will understand like the differences now. So if you look at this particular health bar here, now this health bar, a game UI designer can design this, or a game UI designer can design, but this particular stylish health bar is the work of what? Game UI artists. Understand? So more of any game or any design, you see more of stylish design or stylish artwork or stylish elements. That's the work of game UI artists. Understand? Like a game UI designer can also work on this particular stuff, but it depends the level of the UI designer, like the level of the UI designer, the game UI designer. So if he or she can be able to design stylish. you can be able to design the stylish health bar. The same thing with this menu. This particular menu looks simple and kind of a little bit stylish too. You understand? Also, a game UI designer can also what design this particular stuff. But when you have to work on a company, understand? When you have to work on a company, understand? Company, they do hire game UI designers different, game UI artists different. Understand? So like so far so good. I believe that there's no any question. I think this is 10 o'clock here, like 1 hour, like I said before. So this particular record, we'll put it out on our YouTube channel. You guys can also go through it. It'll be your free time. So as time goes on, we also have upcoming design challenge that's coming up very soon. People that really want to get their hands busy to interact, to understand or interact with game design. So far so good. Like today is like our onboarding and also our flex session. So at least you guys should understand the purpose of the community and also what game design is really all about. So far so good. I will say thank you everyone. I really appreciate everyone joining. So more information, we're going to drop more information on WhatsApp community group. So you guys be expecting more updates from us. So like no question, no problem. So I think we can just call it a night. Community manager, Miss Precious, do you have anything to say? I think she's not here. Hello, Miss Precious, can you hear me? I think we got network. Okay, so far, okay, Precious, okay. Continue, Miss Precious. Can you hear me, Miss Precious? Can you hear me? I think maybe your network. So far so good. So just call it a day. So like I said, you guys will be hearing from us. So bye everyone.